Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, learningtomix.com, and here on my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to answer 3 more questions on another episode of Questions and Coffee with David, even though today I'm drinking water and not coffee. This is where I answer your questions as they come in over YouTube, Facebook, through email, yada, 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 to try to help you guys get through some of the frustrations and struggles you're having in your home studio. So if you want one of your questions answered in an upcoming episode, send it to info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Once again, that's info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I'm sure somewhere in this video you'll see it up on the bottom of the screen. Send in your question. If it's usually a quick question, I can hit you back in email and answer it. But if it's a more lengthy thing, I'll put it in one of these videos for you. But I try to get back to everyone in some form or fashion in email just to help you through your issue as quickly as possible. So before we get to this episode's 3 questions, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button below. It helps me out tremendously. Go out to facebook.com/homerecordingmadeeasy and follow me there. And for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, mixing and mastering, be sure to go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Check out the Quick Mix series, the Made Easy series, and all the free content. It will absolutely help you make better productions in your home studio, I promise. And if you really want to get down deep and dirty into the craft of mixing, and you're into mixing your own music or other people's music, head on over to learningtomix.com and check out what I have going on over there with my good friend and colleague Pete Woj from mixbetternow.com. We teamed up, created a mixing training membership website, and it is a ton of fun, and we have a growing community, and we're constantly giving away free plugins and free hardware. We have mixing contests. We're mixing music every single month, and we're getting way down deep into the weeds to help you get better at the craft of mixing. Regardless if you're a beginner, intermediate, or even an advanced mixer, you will absolutely find value at learningtomix.com. Check it out, try it out. 30-day money-back guarantee is really, really cool. So now let's head over to the first question. First question comes from Mike. And Mike writes in and asks, "Hi, just saw your video on latency/crackling and popping. Was clear and understandable. My situation is a little different. I record drums. I have a Focusrite Claret 8 Pre X and a Scarlett Octo Pre. The Octo Pre is where my 2 overhead Neumann condensers pop. Phantom power is on 48K. My drum kit mics do not pop, only the condensers, and it's occasional. I am using a MacBook Pro from 2014, an i5 2.8 gigahertz with 16 gigs of RAM and a 250 gig SSD hard drive. I have 2 external Glyph hard drives, 2 terabytes each. I believe my system is strong enough to handle drum tracking, but I am truly beside myself as to why it's popping and only when my condensers are on. Have I messed up the sample rates, but I messed with the sample rates, but I still get it. Latency is not an issue. Thanks for your time. Best, Mike. Mike, I think I might know your problem, and I think I actually answered you back in an email. By what you describe, it sounds to me like the overheads, if you're using large diaphragm condenser microphones, check your input gain going to those microphones. It sounds like you might be overloading the capsules. And maybe if you're recording drums and you're using them as overheads and they're getting kind of low to the kit, that the signal might be overloading the microphone. So just be careful of that. You have to use 48K phantom power, no problem. But I think that's what your issue is. You're absolutely right that your computer has certainly got enough spec in it that you could do drum tracking no problem. And if your close mics are not giving you a problem, the dynamic mics, and it's just your overheads, the large diaphragm condensers, my guess is that's what it is. And if it's happening intermittently and only on occasion, it probably means during the recording process, you're just clipping the capsule. You might be hitting it a little too hard and you're getting some distortion. That's what it sounds like. Now, I could be wrong about that. That would be the first thing I would check. Make sure that when you're setting up your recording levels, make sure that you're recording at a conservative level. I tell everybody, regardless of the instrument that you're recording, especially something as percussive as drums, I would be recording at a -12 to -15 dB on the input side going into your DAW. Okay, if you're recording any hotter than about a -12, you are going to run the risk of clipping. A lot of people that are new to tracking in the digital audio workstation world, they take themselves back to a time where we used to record in analog and you would try to record as hot as you could without clipping. In the digital realm, it's completely different. You don't want to get anywhere near 0 on your meters. Negative 12 to negative 15 dB is a good conservative recording level, so you can add all your processing on later and mixing and you won't have any issues. So that's what it sounds like to me. By the time you see this video, you might have already tried this out. I'd be interested to know, Mike, whether or not if you solved the problem and if what I'm saying is holding true. So let me know either way. And if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to help you. I don't think it's a defective microphone. I think you might just be hitting it too hard, and maybe that little popping you're hearing is the capsule. That's what I think. But anyway, let us know, because that would be great to know. This is not a question I get every day, so I'd be interested to hear how you made out. So thanks for writing in, and let's go on to the next question. Next question comes from Chris, and Chris writes in, "Hi David, how would I know if my laptop processor is being overloaded? The level on the main out is going up and down before I even start playback, as is the performance indicator. It is though that it's using processor energy before I even begin serious mixing. I bought the soft tube tape. It's excellent. Before that, I bought the PreSonus CT1, CTC-1, which is the console shaper. Again, good sound. However, I just started, even just using the CTC on the main out with the tape elsewhere causes the sound. I don't think it's clipping, as the main is just registering a negative 12 at peak. The laptop is 6 months old and has 8 gigs of memory, not a massively expensive one, about $700. I'm using an external hard drive as you suggested. Any suggestions? Welcome, Chris." Well, Chris, thanks for writing in. One of two things might be happening. When I read your email, the first thing I thought was, if you have the CTC1, the console shaper on your main output, and you're seeing on the main fader, you're seeing the little meter kind of go up and down a little bit, what that could be, the console shaper is adding some analog noise into your signal. That's part of what these old analog style plugins do. They add that noise like analog gear. And that could simply be if in that plugin you have something jacked up, turned up all the way, you may not audibly be hearing it, but you may be seeing that little sound like tape hiss and stuff that they kind of bring into the plugin. That might be what's causing that. So check that out. That was my first thinking, is maybe something on the plugin is turned up and you're seeing some signal, even though you're not hearing much, you're seeing something going on with the plugin. That could be what it is. As far as your computer, it's only 6 months old. Now, you only have 8 gig of memory. I would seriously consider upgrading to 16 gigs if you can in that laptop, just because that's going to help you down the road for sure. But I don't think that is so much of your issue. But if you're using the soft tube tape and you're using the CTC-1 and you're getting that could be going on. As far as that is going on, I would check your device block size in the preferences window in Studio One and see what that is set at. And I have videos on my YouTube channel talking about that. That could be an issue, but you're not getting any cracking or popping. You're just seeing some signal on the meter. So again, I think that's what it is. Now, if you open up your performance meter in Studio One, what does that show? Open up the performance monitor in Studio One, even with just those two plugins on, before you play anything back, and see what that's doing. That shouldn't be spiking. If that's spiking, we may have a little bit of a different problem. Maybe the way your computer is set up, some of the settings, we can maybe help you optimize it a little bit better. But if you're just seeing signal on the master fader going up and down kind of faintly, that could be the plugin, as I just mentioned. So let me know if that helps you at all, and let me know what your result is. And if you have any other questions around this, I'd be glad to help, Chris. Again, thanks for writing in. And now let's head over to the last question for this episode. This comes in from Paul. And Paul writes in, another latency kind of question. I'm having latency troubles on PreSonus. Watched the video and it did help, thanks. Using a 7-year-old computer with 15 gigs, he probably means 16 gigabytes on Windows 7. Tried to lower the file sizes as suggested in the video, and the lowest I can get is around 500. There are no drop-down windows for other sizes. Any thoughts or ideas? Thanks. Thanks, Paul, for writing in. What he is suggesting to our other viewers here is he tried the device block size that I suggested in one of the other videos. If you're having latency issues, there's a couple of things that be going on. The first thing and the easiest thing to do is go to the preferences in Studio One and check the device block size. Now, if you're on a Windows, you're not, it's Windows is a little different than the Mac version. The Mac version, you have a drop down arrow where you can, depending on your interface, you can lower it as low as like 32 samples. For recording, I put it on a lower setting. For mixing, I put it on a higher setting. Windows is a little bit different. The Windows version, I'm not too familiar with that, but it looks like you've already tried to lower it as low as you can to 500 and you're still getting latency issues. You have 16 gigs, or you say 15, 16 gigs of RAM, that's probably not a problem. I don't know what kind of processor you have, and I also don't know what you're really doing in this session. What are you trying to do? Just mix, just record? What are you doing that's causing the latency? Are you, the best thing to do is just open up a blank session. Don't put any plugins on. Can you just record one simple track, whether it be a vocal, guitar, what have you? Are you getting those latency issues? If you are, we could talk through that. Having a 7-year-old computer, depending on the processor speed, you're probably, depending on, again, what you're trying to do, you're probably coming up on a time where maybe a computer upgrade might be in your future. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to do. When you say you're having latency problems, I need to have a little bit more information on where the latency is coming into play for you. So again, start with a clean slate, brand new session, no plugins. Can you record a single track without any latency? If the answer to that question is yes, then okay, maybe you can record a couple of tracks and put a couple of plugins on those tracks, like in the mixing phase, and see if that's causing latency. And try to be a little more specific with me, Paul, and I could probably steer you in the right direction. There might be some things that we can do to help you optimize your computer to make sure you have all the settings all set up to the most optimal way. And try to get you going in that direction. But what I find more times than not, that when people are talking about using a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old computer with a slower processor, and as they start recording, they're starting to load up their sessions with plugins, or they're trying to use a lot of virtual instruments, software instruments, and the computer just bogs down, and you're going to get all kinds of latency problems and such, and then you're going to have all kinds of other issues down the road. So you may be looking at a computer upgrade in your near future. But give me some more detail, and I could probably help you out a little bit further. Okay, Paul, so thanks for writing in. I hope that answered your question, at least gave you something to think about, to give me some more detail, and we'll get you straight. Don't worry, we'll get you going in the right direction. So that is it for this episode of Questions and Coffee with David. Again, sending your questions to info@homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Anything related to recording, mixing, and mastering, any home studio questions, I'd be glad to help you as best I can. And again, share, like, subscribe, leave comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.